Right, hello guys, this is David Howell and I'm doing another tutorial for UnrealMaster.com. Today I'm going to show you how to create a basic cinematic using the camera matinee in UDK. So just to start off, I've just made a quick simple scene here I'm going to use for the cinematic. So, first thing first, we need a camera actor. So we're going to open up the content browser, going to go over to actor classes, and we'll find under common camera actor. So if we right click, we'll place that in the level. Add camera actor here, and I'm going to move it because what I'm going to have is I'm going to have the player walk through this door and then the cinematic take over. So one thing, whilst we're placing this camera, if you want the camera to look exactly at a place, so for example, I think I'll get the camera to start off looking down this way. So to position it through normally dragging it would take a while, it would take ages and be very inaccurate. So instead what you can do, with the camera selected, if you press the little I button, lock selected actors to camera, then if we just move a tiny bit, there you go. So the camera is now locked to wherever we move the viewport. And if we uncheck that as well, you can see the camera's now snapped into place where we wanted it to be. So, next thing we're going to need to do is we'll actually set it up in Kismet. So if you open Kismet, which is the little K next to the content browser, and with the camera selected again, we right click and we say New Matinee. If we double click that, you'll open up the matinee control window. So this Unreal Matinee is where we'll use it for creating cinematics or animations. For example, we used it in our moving platform tutorial. So again, making sure the camera is selected, we right click in the grey space to the left and we go add new director group. With the camera selected again, we go add new camera group as well. You can name your camera group whatever you want. So in this new camera group, you'll see we've got a movement track and an FOV angle track, field of view angle. We're not going to bother with the field of view angle, we're just going to bother with the movement track. So, to start off with filming it, it would be, you could drag it again as normal, but again it would be very awkward and you wouldn't be able to see what the camera can see. But, so we want to look through the camera as we're moving it, but we don't do that by selecting the eye, because if you select the eye it won't work. Okay, so instead what you need to do, there's a little camera icon next to your new camera group, and if you press that so it turns yellow, you're now looking through the camera. And you can tell that as well because your 3D viewport has now turned to say Unreal Matinee, and it's showing the amount of frames on the view of the camera. So at the moment as well, you can see that we're at the beginning of 10 frames. So it's about 5 seconds. So this is about 5 seconds long, this at the moment. So I want to make it last a bit longer. So to do this, if you zoom out, you can zoom in and out with the scroll wheel. If you click this very little orange triangle, but you're going to have to click it, and then you can drag this in and out. So we're going to drag this over to the 10-second mark. So now this animation will last 10 seconds. So another thing, this green section here, we don't have to worry about, but this is for previewing and looping the animations, etc. It's like a section cut-off thing for it. But again, we don't have to worry about that for now. Now, initially this might sound hard when you say, oh, I'm going to make a cinematic, but it's surprisingly easy. Cameras are so easy to use in Unreal, it's fantastic, because they just use keyframes, and then Unreal will link those keyframes together. So, to start off, we're going to start moving the camera in a second, but first we have to create the very first keyframe that tells Unreal where the camera starts from. So, to make a keyframe, in the Unreal Matinee window, you have to have the movement track selected, and this is your time slider as well, is the little black one at the bottom, near all the, the time countdown. So you just click on the black line and you'll be able to move it. So I forgot to mention, we'll make sure this is at the very start, and then with movement track selected and the camera highlighted, if we press enter, you can see Unreal's now made a new keyframe, key 0, at that starting position, and so that's going to be the starting position the camera moves from. So I'm also going to move the black track across a bit and make another keyframe. So what you can see is from this, the camera will start at the stationary point and it'll still be here, it'll wait for half a second. So now we'll start moving the camera. So this is very easy again. So in the 3D viewport, if we click, and then you can just move this camera just as you would any other normal camera. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to rotate it a bit and move it forward. And you'll see a mistake I've actually made, because I had the second keyframe selected. It's actually put that data onto that second keyframe. So I'll delete that. You can delete a keyframe just by clicking it and hitting delete. I'll make a new stationary keyframe. I'll move the slider to about 1.5 seconds, make a new keyframe, and I'll move it again. Now you can preview this animation as well by dragging the time slider across, so you can see how stuff's working. So I'm going to move it a bit again, and I'm going to move the camera across here, down a bit and pointing up. And because Unreal links the keyframes together and makes them a smooth progress, you can see that the track, it's forming this nice smooth curved track. So as you can see, it's linked these two keyframes together, and this is what it'll look like. So on this, I don't like this keyframe, so I'm actually going to edit it a bit. So there we go. I'm going to create another small keyframe. And as you can see, this transition's actually a bit fast. So what you can do as well, if you control click a keyframe, you can drag it out again. So I'm going to drag it to about there. And then from here, you can move your slider across a bit. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid of deleting a keyframe, going back to the old one, moving the slider again. So the good thing about this is, because it's so easy to use, you can very quickly make some very nice cutscenes. For example, in my level that we did for university, I made quite a few. Initially I only planned to have one, but because the camera's so nice and easy to use, you can very quickly make a very impressive cutscene. So because that's it's just a really cool tool. I can't express really how much I love it. So what I'm also going to do, I'm just going to extend the timeline slightly. So I got that no active track message because I hadn't selected the movement track after I clicked off it. So click onto movement track and I can now place another keyframe. And I'm going to cycle back to here. Okay, so if you press the stop button at the very top of the matinee window, the timeline will jump straight back to the beginning, and you can now press play to preview the whole animation. So that looks alright, you know, we're going to use that because I'm running out of time a bit.